Let's talk about something we've all wondered about. Why do some of the smartest people we know make some of the worst decisions? Well, it turns out the answer isn't really about intelligence at all. It's about something else, something psychology says is way more important. And honestly, it might just change the way you see things.
I mean, you've seen it, right? That brilliant friend or coworker who's a genius in their field, but in their personal life, it's like they have these huge blind spots and they just keep making the same mistakes over and over. It's baffling.
So here's the big idea that kind of flips the whole thing on its head. The myth we all believe is that it's a lack of intelligence, but the reality, psychological research points to something completely different, a lack of awareness. See, it's not about how fast your brain can solve a puzzle, it's about how much of the world and yourself you're actually paying attention to.
We can call this the awareness blind spot. And the idea here is both simple and, well, pretty powerful. Our biggest limitations aren't the things we think about, they're the things we don't even notice are there in the first place.
Psychologists have a term for this: low awareness thinking. Basically, it's a state where you're not fully perceiving yourself, other people, or the situation you're in. And the most important word in that whole definition is quietly, because it holds you back, it limits your growth, all in the background, without you ever even knowing it's happening.
So, what does this actually look like day to day? How would you even know if this was happening to you? Well, let's break down the 5 silent signs of this kind of thinking.
We're going to look at how we affect others, how we read or misread conversations, the secret power our moods have over us, the patterns in life we can't seem to break, and finally, that gap between who we think we are and how other people actually see us. Let's start with number 1. So, sign number 1. This is all about the impact you have on the people around you. This is about a serious disconnect. Someone with low awareness can be talking, thinking everything's going great, they're just being normal. Meanwhile, the people they're talking to are feeling uncomfortable or confused or just distant. There's a total mismatch between their intention and their actual impact. The psychological term for this is low social self-monitoring. It's really just that skill of being able to read the room, to sense how your words are landing and then adjust on the fly. If you don't have that, you're pretty much flying blind in social situations. Okay, on to sign number 2, which really builds on that first idea. This one is all about seeing the deeper meaning in a conversation. You ever talk to someone who takes everything literally? That's a huge sign of low awareness. A joke just kind of sails right over their head, they don't get the sarcasm, and the real meaning, the subtext behind the words, is just gone, completely missed. Because, true awareness in a conversation isn't just about hearing the words someone says. It's about catching what's implied. Without that skill, communication just stays on the surface, and misunderstandings are pretty much guaranteed to happen. All right, time for our third sign. This one is all internal. It's about the invisible force that drives so much of our thinking, our mood. Oh, this one is huge. You think you are being perfectly logical, making a rational decision. But behind the curtain, your mood is pulling all the strings. If you're feeling stressed, your logic tells you everything is a crisis. If you're feeling angry, your logic will find fault with absolutely everything. Your emotions are secretly writing the script for your thoughts. This all comes down to low emotional awareness. It literally distorts your thinking. And the most dangerous part? You don't even see the distortion. You're 100% convinced that you're seeing things exactly as they are. Our fourth sign is about recognizing the patterns in your own life. I mean, are you actually learning from your experiences, or do you just find yourself reliving them? This is that incredibly frustrating feeling of being stuck on a treadmill. It's having the same argument with your partner, the same conflict with your boss, the same misunderstanding with a friend. And what's crazy is, every single time it happens, it feels like a completely new problem, not like a rerun of an old show you've seen a dozen times. And the reason for this loop is what some psychologists call weak pattern awareness. It's the inability to step back, connect the dots between these experiences, and pull out some kind of insight. So life keeps repeating the lesson, but the understanding just never clicks into place. And that brings us to our fifth and final silent sign. This one's all about the gap between the person you think you are and the person everyone else sees. For example, maybe you think you're projecting confidence, but other people are reading it as arrogance. Or you think you're being helpful, but your team just feels like you're micromanaging them. That gap between your self-image and how you're actually perceived is a massive, massive blind spot. There's a psychological term for this. It's a lack of meta-perception, which is really just a fancy way of saying you're not very good at guessing how other people see you. And when that ability is off, blind spots aren't just an occasional thing, they're a constant feature of how you exist in the world.
So we've walked through all 5 signs. Now what? What's the way out of this? Well, the good news is it's not about trying to become smarter or getting a higher IQ. It's about making a fundamental shift in how you operate. And this, right here, is probably the most important takeaway of this whole thing. The way to improve your mind isn't to think harder or analyze more. The mind improves not by thinking more, but by noticing more, by cultivating that simple but incredibly powerful skill of just paying attention, noticing your impact, noticing the subtext, noticing your moods, the patterns, and how you really come across. So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. We all have blind spots, right? That's just part of being human. The real question is, are you fully aware of how you operate, or are you just partially seeing the picture? What might you discover if you just started to, well, notice?